Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the MiniBrute cookbook tutorial series that I'm doing, where we go through the MiniBrute 2 cookbook and try out all the recipes, try out all the flavors, see what we like, see what we don't, see how it works, see what we can do. Today's episode is the envelope shaping recipe by Victor Morello. In this patch, the ADSR envelope is used to modulate the AD envelope decay time. This results in a drastic change of the decay curve, which can be very useful for sculpting your sound. Tweak the decay of the ADSR envelope to control the total length of the volume envelope. Okay, so this one is a little bit hard to understand what's happening. So, I also realized I left something. I don't want that right now. So, here's what it sounds like. I mean, so the sound itself is pretty basic. The idea here is that we're talking about a concept. So this might be the first one that we don't start from default, just because there's really no point. So I'm just going to go through what's happening, and then we'll talk about it. So we want full square wave, full triangle wave, a little bit of pulse width, and quite a bit of metal modulation. Okay. And that doesn't need to be like that's not mega important to what's happening. That's just so we have a cool sound to work with while we talk about what's really supposed to be happening, which is the ADSR envelope, the AD envelope, and how they interact with each other. Okay. So the core of what's supposed to happen with this sound is that the ADSR envelope it's supposed to be a demonstration on how the ADSR envelope can be used to change the length of the decay of the AD envelope, to change the actual, like the curve as it falls off, right? So I'm going to put our envelopes and everything else back to kind of normal for right now so we can hear what's happening. Also, the FM, the frequency modulation for the filter needs to be, the filter modulation needs to be set to 0 so it doesn't do anything. Okay, so we have just a very static sounding tone, right? Well, if we give it some decay, now we have some life to it. Now the recipe says to give a very little a bit, like a very small amount. I didn't have good results with this, but that's what it says to do. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we do any of that, pre-wire your ADSR into the decay of your attack and decay envelope, right? So this whole module is going to control just this guy. Now we can start moving some knobs. So the decay, we're going to go up with it. I'm going to turn this up. So, oop, that was too loud. That's good. So, right. So we have some decay on the decay on the AD envelope, but we can add more or smooth off how it rolls off at the very end. Instead of just dropping, we can kind of extend that decay just a little bit. What's happening here is that the typical decay envelope is linear. It looks like like if you were to look at amplitude over time, which is what decay is controlling, it's going to look like a square wave or a saw wave. It's just going to go straight line, straight down. Now, what we're doing by adjusting the decay of the decay is we're making that curve more rounded, where the decay stays longer and then just kind of drops more suddenly, okay? It's kind of hard to perceive what's happening, but this is what's happening, right? Now, if we take the AD envelope and go out of that into the, I think linear FM should do it. Yeah, that doesn't work very well. Try the FM. Yeah, so that's not really readily apparent what's happening there either. So it's kind of hard to really figure out like what's happening here, but it's Sorry, I had to. It's not super readily apparent what's happening here, but the attack decay sustain release envelope, ADSR envelope, is controlling the decay to adjust the roll off of the volume of the sound. You're going to have to experiment with this one. You're going to have to really play around with it and tweak it until you figure out what it's doing, how it's doing it. This is going to be a pretty short tutorial because, again, we're talking about a concept more than we are about an actual patch, because we want to take this idea and we can use it in other ways. So, but you're going to have to play around with that a little bit and kind of figure out what you're doing, how you're doing it, why it's working, what you're trying to do with it. This one's kind of tough to really flesh out. But if you understand the concept, you can do a lot of fun stuff with it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one. Short, sweet, to the point. It's not really a ton with this one. It's kind of, you're going to have to kind of play around with it and figure it out. But that's kind of the fun of the game, right? So, as always, experiment, play around, have fun, and we'll catch you in the next one.